I want you to shout out your favorite team because coming up here on today's show, I'm going to give you one training camp winner from each NFL team. So that's 32 players that are training camp winners so far. So right now, down in the comments, shout out your favorite team. Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports, and on today's show, we're going to be breaking down all the training camp winners so far, but I wouldn't be able to do today's show, and I don't even know if I'd have a girlfriend if it wasn't for our awesome sponsor, Manscaped. Head on over to manscaped.com/chat, where you guys can save 20% off and get free shipping on the best male grooming products out there. So the way that I'm going to end up doing this is we're going to go division by division. So if you're waiting for your team, if you're waiting for the AFC, you guys are going to be second. We are going to kick it off with the NFC West because this is probably one of the more entertaining divisions, especially in the NFC. So we got the Seahawks, the Rams, Cardinals, 49ers. I'm going to kick it off here with the Seahawks training camp winner so far, Ahkello Witherspoon. This guy has looked very good thus far, and when you talk about one of the biggest weaknesses for Seattle was in that secondary, Witherspoon's a winner thus far. I got DeSean Jackson coming in here for the Los Angeles Rams. Deep threat. We know Matthew Stafford has a big-time arm, so I'm really interested to see how all this training camp success goes to the regular season. Zaven Collins, rookie linebacker out of Tulsa. He won the Defensive Player of the Year award this past year in college football. A very dynamic player, but also his addition has made, I don't know, I'm going to say if Jordan Hicks is upset, but it is one of the reasons why you see a guy like Hicks, maybe even Chandler Jones requesting a trade. Zaven Collins, though, does look very good thus far. Let's go to Jason Verrett because Verrett has never been doubted whether or not he's been talented. It's been, can he stay healthy? The 49ers brought him back, and so far, it's so good. He's 100% healthy, a top 10 cornerback last season according to Pro Football Focus. So we'll see if Verrett can translate that to the preseason and then maybe the regular season. All right, y'all, so don't be a homer here. Which team had the best offseason? And I'm getting a word from my producer, Jeremy, that we're going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. For those of you that don't know what that means, you're going to get hit with a YouTube ad break. I want you to scroll on down while you're getting hit with that ad break and let me know which team had the best offseason. Let's go down south now to the NFC. Saints, Bucks, Panthers, and Falcons. Well, the defending champs, who's going to be their training camp winner? I got Adam Trautman coming in as a tight end for the Saints. We know that Michael Thomas is missing time. Trautman, thus far, has done a good job of trying to find a reliable option for Jameis and for Taysom Hill. I'm going to go to the rookie now, Joe Tryon, edge rusher out of Washington. One of the biggest things that Tampa Bay tried to do is add more edge rushers just in case. Somebody like Shaq Barrett when it came back, but they did a phenomenal job. But Joe Tryon is looking pretty good. Sam Darnold. Sam's been in a shitty situation, we'll just say it, with the New York Jets. Now he comes on over to Carolina and already has good chemistry with his receivers according to reports. But you got DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. Those are your top two guys. Well, maybe not. Christian McCaffrey running back out of the backfield. For those of you looking for another winner, maybe for fantasy, I think McCaffrey could be a very sneaky pick considering the fact that Curtis Samuel is no longer there. David Moore, and then Ian Thomas. The last guy I'm going to bring up here for the Atlanta Falcons, it's Frank Darby. And some of you are like, who the hell is Frank Darby? Well, no more Julio Jones, 6th round pick. You know that Calvin Ridley is going to be the wide receiver one. Can Frank Darby maybe finesse his way into getting some extra snaps with Matty Ice? Let's go to the NFC East, or last season. Sorry, y'all, it was the NFC East. Washington, Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles. I'm going to start here with the Washington football team and Landon Collins. So Landon Collins was one of these players that was coming off a serious injury. You're hoping that he's going to be ready to go, but he is a veteran, and if he can really continue to play well, he's looked great so far. If he can continue to play well, that could really put the Washington defense together. We're going to go to XAVIER McKINNEY now, defensive back. I like this kid a lot when he was first coming out of college, especially out of Alabama. They're pretty solid at being able to produce pretty good defensive backs here, so he's the winner for the Giants. Let's go to the Dallas Cowboys now. CeeDee Lamb. He was the third receiver drafted in the 2020 draft. I've already seen multiple highlights of him just absolutely mossing people as a rookie. 74 catches, 935 yards, 5 touchdowns last season. How is he going to be able to increase those numbers? I think everyone watching right now would be like, all right, you're going you're going to have Dak Prescott. That's going to definitely help you out a whole lot. Next guy coming up here for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jordan Mailata, and I don't know if I 100% pronounced that right. Mailata, excuse me. But he's going to be the starting left tackle, a big responsibility for Jalen Hurts. And considering the fact of all the issues that the Eagles had on the offensive line last year, it's good to see that Jordan is already an early training camp winner. Now, some of you watching, you might be a loser, and you're like, dude, you don't even know who the hell I am. How do you know if I'm a loser or not? If you're not using Manscaped, I can already tell you this. You're already behind me and the rest of the guys that are, because I don't know if it's on a Snapple bottle, but I guarantee you this. You crack open a Snapple bottle, let's combine. That's funny. I got an 80% better chance of getting a date if I'm using Manscaped. And you guys can too. Head on over to manscaped.com/chat and make sure you guys are taking advantage of this deal. It's going to be down in the comments. Manscaped.com/chat. 20% off and free shipping on the best male grooming products out there. I use the Lawnmower 4.0 every single week, and I've been able to keep my girlfriend happy for at least, 18 months at least. That's what she tells me. Seriously, though, take advantage of the deal. Down in the comments, manscaped.com/chat. Let's go to the NFC North now. Packers, Bears, Vikings, and the Lions. So, Jair Alexander, I'll say, was probably one of the best cornerbacks in the entire league last year. And if you're Green Bay, you got a lot of issues on the offensive side of the football. But one thing that you don't have to be worried about is who your cornerback one's going to be. And all things are all go for Alexander, who continues to just look like an absolute shutdown cornerback. The word elite has been thrown around a lot. Darnell Mooney for the Chicago Bears. You know you got Allen Robinson. Excuse me as I burped as that little transition came in here. I got so excited for Mooney that I almost mooned somebody thanks to Manscaped. But no, seriously, this is going to be the wide receiver 2 in Chicago. Keep an eye on him. No more Anthony Miller. Irv Smith Jr. The Vikings decided to move on from Kyle Rudolph. Has looked good thus far. He's going to be one of those players that Kirk Cousins is going to rely on in the red zone, and he's a bigger role now that Rudolph is gone. Let's go to Michael Brockers, defensive end for the Detroit Lions. I know that they decided to bring back Aquara, and I know that they have Trey Flowers, but Michael Brockers, do not be surprised if he's going to be one of those starting defensive ends that could rack up a few sacks. It's AFC South time now, so we did all the NFC teams. Now let's go down to the AFC South, where we got the Titans, Colts, Texans, and the Jags. This might be one of the hardest divisions to watch in football, especially if the Colts don't have Carson Wentz. Well, first guy coming in here is Breon Borders, and some of you are like, wait a minute, who the heck is this dude? Out of all the cornerbacks, so Janoris Jenkins has looked pretty good thus far. Also, Christian Fulton. I was thinking about putting Caleb Farley in there, but Farley just came off the PUP list today. But for Borders, an under-the-radar player that continues to look good. And for Tennessee, they really struggled in the secondary last year, so Borders definitely a guy to keep in mind. I'm going to go Jacob Eason, not because he's looked great, but part of being a training camp winner if you're a quarterback is if the guy ahead of you goes down with an injury, Carson Wentz is out 5 to 12 weeks, you could have a situation now where Eason gets to step in and take advantage of being a starting quarterback. That makes you a winner. Let's go to the Texans defense now, because all reports are from Houston is the offense has not been looking good, but that the defense has been explosive, really trying to get after the football. Lovie Smith has been doing a phenomenal job down there, and if you're Cully trying to rock and roll in your first year, you like to see the defense is good, because I don't know how the offense is going to look. All right, let's go now to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the number 1 overall pick. It's Trevor Lawrence. If you follow a lot of the Jags training camp news, it's like, here's what Trevor Lawrence did today. Here's what Trevor Lawrence did today. Here's what a Jacksonville player did, and then here's what Trevor Lawrence did today. There's obviously a lot of concentration around him and Tim Tebow, but Lawrence so far looks very, very good. All right, y'all, so what do you think here? Will Lawrence win Rookie of the Year? I want you to go down in the comments section, type Y for yes, type N for no. Some of you are probably like, Mitch, obviously he was the number 1 pick. You might have said the exact same thing about Joe Burrow. A lot of crazy stuff can happen, but if this young man does stay healthy and he plays the entire season, I'm going to go ahead and type my Y for yes. If anything crazy does happen to Trevor Lawrence, or if anything happens in general, we're going to keep you guys up to date here at Chat Sports. So if you find yourself looking for the best and most interactive sports YouTube channel out there, I promise you, we're going to be that channel for you guys. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Also, it's 100% free. Let's go to the AFC East now. We got the Bills, Dolphins, Pats, and the New York Jets. So we're going to get into these training camp winners for these 4 teams here. I'm going to go to Carlos Boogie Basham of the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, excuse me. They drafted Gregory Rousseau and Basham, their first 2 picks this year. From everything that I'm seeing, Basham has been outplaying Gregory Rousseau. Albert Wilson has been taking advantage of Devontae Parker not really being able to practice all that much. Jalen Waddle has looked very good, but Wilson was a player that opted out. Was a guy on the roster bubble. Continues to make big plays. Had a hell of a catch today at Dolphins training camp. Albert Wilson, a clear winner. Now we're going to go to Mac Jones, and it's just because he has outplayed Cam Newton. I'm going to say literally every single day of practice. All the reports coming out of New England are like, Newton, not that Newton has looked bad, but Mac Jones looks ready to rock and roll day one. So I'm curious to see if he has a good preseason, if he's going to be the New England Patriots week 1 starter. Next team coming up here again is the New York Jets. Mekhi Becton. You invested in Zach Wilson, number 2 overall, and Becton looks big. He looks strong, and he looks like an up-and-coming tackle in this league. It would not surprise me if 2 years down the road, hell, maybe even after this year, we're talking about Mekhi Becton as being the best left tackle in all of football. That's how talented I think that young man is. Let's go to the AFC North now. Probably the most competitive division in the AFC. At least I see 3 potential playoff teams here. Sorry, Cincinnati. Najee Harris, big old running back. They had James Conner. They had a few other backs in there. Some of those guys got injured. I know Ben Roethlisberger's trying to stay healthy, but Najee Harris so far, he looks like he's the real deal. J.K. Dobbins has been another winner. Baltimore decided to move on from Mark Ingram. You have Gus Edwards, who's been on and off the injury list already. But Dobbins has been somebody that he's like, hey, man, I want more work in the passing game. I want to get more work in this offense. I talked to a few people that work closely with the Ravens. They said, don't be surprised, they know I'm a fantasy football junkie, if Dobbins ends up as a top 5 running back at the end of the year. So out of Najee Harris and out of J.K. Dobbins, who's going to have the better season? I don't know who made this graphic up here, but don't even look at it. I just want you to, who's going to have the better season? I want you to type N for Najee Harris, or I want you to type J for J.K. Dobbins. Let's go to the Cincinnati. Wow, Cincinnati. Get it together, Mitch. It's the Cleveland Browns with Donovan Peoples-Jones. So you know that they have Jarvis Landry. You know that they have Odell Beckham Jr. Rashad Higgins was a hell of a wide receiver 3 last season with Baker Mayfield. But the kid out of Michigan, he's got the talent, he's got the length, and so far he has been taking advantage of the extra snaps that he's getting with Baker Mayfield. Last guy coming up, it's Joe Burrow, quarterback. And I'll tell you what, he is getting the best out of his young receivers. Jamar Chase has looked good. T. Higgins looks good. Tyler Boyd has looked really good. Joe Mixon broke off a 70-yard run. The reason why I'm putting Joe Burrow as a winner is because this Cincinnati's Bengals offense is made around him. They handed him the keys, and if he can stay healthy, this Bengals team might be a very, very sneaky team. All right, the team that we're going to round out here with, or I guess I should say the division, it's the AFC West. Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos. The winner so far that I've heard the most about, minus Patrick Mahomes, is Lucas Niang. If you watch the Super Bowl, you'll notice that Mahomes is running for his life. Niang is going to be that starting right tackle, and so far, so good for Kansas City. We're sticking with the right tackle position. The Las Vegas Raiders, they drafted Alex Leatherwood, number 17 overall in this past year's draft. They decided to let Trent Brown go, but from a coaching, from a player standpoint, people already can't get over the fact of how professional, how hardworking, and just how much of a veteran already Alex Leatherwood is looking like. So he's a clear winner thus far. We're going to go to Tyrone Johnson. When you talk about the wide receiver core for the Chargers, people say it's Keenan Allen. You're right. And then they go to Mike Williams. There's already reports out there that this Johnson fellow could actually jump Mike Williams and be that wide receiver too, so definitely a player to keep in mind. Last guy that we're going to talk about here is our early training camp winners, Patrick Surtain II. Second cornerback drafted in this past year's draft, but has already looked like a full-grown man out there. I don't know how much he's going to start, but he's going to get a lot of playing time. So Surtain looks like he's the real deal. Another player, 2-3 years down the line, would not surprise me if he's one of the top cornerbacks in the league. If you made it this far in the video, that means we're doing something halfway decent around here, right? So please go ahead, subscribe, and if you could, like the video.